Safety in schools is not just a priority, it's a shared responsibility. As educators, we're entrusted with the well being of our students, and this duty is grounded in both ethical standards and legal obligations. Today, we'll explore the Professional Advisory on Safety in Learning Environments, released by the Ontario College of Teachers in 2013. We'll examine how this advisory connects to the ethical standards and standards of practice for the teaching profession, and how it impacts our role as educators. We'll also discuss relevant legislation, case law, and real world examples that highlight the importance of creating safe, inclusive, and supportive learning environments.
Next, we are going to be looking at the summary of the professional advisory. So, the professional advisory, Safety in Learning Environments, a shared responsibility, was approved by the Ontario College of Teachers on April 4th, 2013. It emphasizes that all Ontario certified teachers are responsible for ensuring student safety in all learning environments. The advisory is grounded in OCT's ethical standards and legal obligations, providing practical guidance for educators. Some key points to consider within this professional advisory include the importance of recognizing, reporting, reflecting, and acting on safety concerns, the need to minimize risks, exercise due diligence, and maintain professional boundaries. What's also important to consider is the disciplinary implications of failing to ensure safety, which can result in professional misconduct charges. The role of continuous improvement through reflection and professional development. So, this advisory has significant implications for students, teachers, and the broader community. For students, it means enhanced safety and support for vulnerable populations. And for teachers, it means increased accountability and the need for ongoing learning. And for the community, it means fostering safe, inclusive environments that align with legal standards.
The advisory aligns closely with the ethical standards for the teaching profession. Let's break this down. The first standard is care. The advisory emphasizes compassion and a commitment to students' well being. For example, it reminds educators to recognize student vulnerability and act to mitigate risks, such as bullying or unsafe physical environments. Teachers have a duty of care because they are the loco parentis, which is a Latin legal term meaning in place of the parent. The next standard is trust. Trust is built through transparency and accountability. The advisory encourages educators to document and report safety incidents promptly, maintain professional boundaries, and communicate openly with parents and guardians. The next standard is respect. Respect involves honoring human dignity and promoting equity. The advisory highlights the importance of addressing bullying, supporting vulnerable populations, and considering students' individual needs, such as medical conditions or accommodations. The last standard is integrity. Integrity means acting ethically and responsibly. The advisory reinforces this by stressing the importance of adhering to legislation, regulations, and employer policies, as well as reflecting on one's practice to ensure continuous improvement.
This advisory also connects deeply with the standards of practice for the teaching profession. So, for the standard commitment to students and student learning, this advisory underscores our duty to create safe environments where students can thrive. For example, it reminds us how to model respectful behavior and intervene when necessary to protect students. For the standard of practice professional knowledge, educators must stay informed about legislation, policies, and best practices related to safety. This advisory highlights the need to understand responsibilities under the Education Act, the Child and Family Services Act, and the Occupational Health and Safety Act. And for the professional practice standard, the advisory provides practical guidance such as establishing safety procedures, assessing risks, and documenting incidents. This aligns with the standard's focus on using appropriate strategies to meet students' needs. And for the standard leadership in learning communities, safety is a shared responsibility. The advisory encourages collaboration with colleagues, administrators, and stakeholders to address safety concerns and promote a culture of respect. And lastly, for the standard of practice ongoing professional learning, this advisory emphasizes the importance of continuous learning to address emerging safety issues, such as mental health concerns and bullying prevention.
Next, let's take a look at legislation, PPMs, and legal cases that are relevant to this advisory. Let's start with relevant legislation. The advisory is supported by the Education Act, which requires educators to ensure student safety and comply with amendments such as the Provincial Code of Conduct, Bill 81 or Ontario Safe Schools Act, and the Accepting Schools Act. The Provincial Code of Conduct and Bill 81 both seek to promote respectful behavior, safety, inclusion, bullying prevention, restorative practices, and accountability to support all students. The Accepting Schools Act focuses on preventing bullying, supporting LGBTQ students and vulnerable students, promoting inclusion, restorative practices, accountability, and community collaboration. Another example is the Child and Family Services Act, which mandates reporting suspected child abuse or neglect. Additionally, the Occupational Health and Safety Act supports this advisory as it emphasizes risk identification and mitigation. Relevant PPMs to this advisory include PPM 166, which discusses anti-sex trafficking protocols. PPM 123 regards safe arrival programs. PPM 76A outlines workplace safety for students in work education programs. PPM 9 requires the duty to report children in need of protection. PPM 158 outlines concussion policies. PPM 161 discusses supporting students with prevalent medical conditions.
Next, we are going to talk about the legal case, highlighting the importance of this professional advisory. For instance, the Ontario College of Teachers versus Bonello, 2019, highlights the issues of safety violations, such as emotional safety and security, and physical safety, as there was a lack of supervision and hazardous learning environment. The penalty decision of this case was for Bonello to have suspension of his certificate of qualifications and registration of being an OCT member for a period of 6 months. Additionally, prior to returning to teaching, he was required to enroll at his own expense a course of instruction pre-approved by the registrar regarding classroom management with a focus on supervision and sensitivity training. This case underscores the importance of adhering to safety protocols and maintaining professional boundaries. Real-world examples further highlight the importance of this advisory. A 2023 survey by the Elementary Teachers Federation of Ontario found that 77% of members had experienced or witnessed violence in schools. This alarming statistic underscores the need to continue advocating for proactive measures to ensure safety in accordance with the advisory and highlights the importance of advocating for safer school environments.
Additionally, the case of Rowan Stringer is highly relevant to this advisory. Rowan was a 17-year-old high school rugby team captain who tragically died in 2013 from second impact syndrome after sustaining multiple unreported concussions during her games. This terrible accident brought attention to concussion safety in schools, or lack thereof, and resulted in the creation of Rowan's Law, a piece of legislation that mandates proper concussion protocol and education for all sports organizations, including schools in Ontario. This aligns with the advisory's call for continuous learning as well as risk mitigation, linking relevance to this law.
To conclude and reflect, the Professional Advisory on Safety in Learning Environments is an essential resource for educators. It reminds us that safety is not just a legal obligation, but is essential to the responsibilities of being a teacher. By aligning with the ethical standards and standards of practice, we can create environments where students feel safe, supported, and valued. As educators, we must commit to ongoing learning, collaboration, and reflection to address emerging safety concerns. Ultimately, our goal is to foster inclusive, equitable, and respectful learning environments where every student can thrive. This advisory will help guide our future practice, as it should for all educators, ensuring that safety needs of all future students are met. Thank you. The next few slides are a list of resources that we consulted to create this presentation.